Why is it so hard for people to talk about money?
There is such thing as financial trauma. We can't get to the destination if we don't know where we're starting. If somebody's quality of life is low, then their value for life is going to be low as well.
You used to have $200 in your account with bad savings.
I would always start a job with no money and quit the job with no money. That was lack of financial literacy, lack of responsibility, or having a plan.
Why is it important for someone like yourself to be in this financial space?
I just want to be able to encourage everybody, but especially women, because we're not typically encouraged to care about this kind of stuff. You have to want to help yourself, and sometimes that involves getting help from someone else. The storm's brewing. $20,000 could be $40,000 of debt real quick.
This episode of Corex Creative is sponsored by BMO, Bank of Montreal. BMO, Yonge and Harbor Branch, presents Corex Creative Connect Live podcast to bring you voices in finance. You will hear about the power of advice and the importance of taking action with your finances. Act now with BMO by booking a full financial review with one of our personal bankers at Yonge and Harbor Branch, and call our service line at 416-360-3680 to set and achieve your goals. Event attendees are eligible to receive a one-time $250 credit when you open a new business banking account. This offer expires February 28th, 2025. BMO Bank of Montreal is here to help you make real financial progress. The speakers are not BMO employees, and their advice is not endorsed by BMO. BMO encourages you to visit your local branch for advice to boldly grow the good in business and in life. Thank you, guys. My name is Dwayne Holness, also go by the artist name of Dukez, and I've been a creative pretty much my entire life. I've always been interested in storytelling. Born in Jamaica, came to Canada when I was 5, and I always wanted a better life for myself, and I felt creative. Being a creative was the way out. So growing up from Jane and Finch, I always found that there was stories to tell. I had friends that were amazing artists, and I had this talent of picking up a camera and documenting each and every minute of their journey, which inspired me to continue on my journey and eventually creating a business out of it, and now being able to run my own business for over 15 years, work with some of the top companies like LCBO, Canadian Tire, and the list goes on. Been able to be a creative director as well for artists such as Lauryn Hill and Chronix, and I've been able to experience a pretty decent lifestyle just being a creative. And the missing piece that really held me back a lot of the time was understanding finance. You know, as artists, sometimes we will get this big opportunity that'll give us immense amount of money, but then it'll be gone due to not saving or debt or whatever. So me being able to connect myself with other business professionals who were more versed in finance really helped me situate myself so that I can be in better financial situations, to the point where I was able to buy my mother a house. And those are dreams that creatives always want to aspire to do. And I am someone who, I guess, use myself as a lab rat for a creative success. And I've been able to really get to the point where I bought myself a house too. So, you know, and this through creative working, through arts. And, you know, some people don't believe art can be that end all be all, because it could be so difficult. So conversations like this, I hope to inspire other creatives. I hope to share information that allow creatives to take it and run with it so that they can better themselves as well. So I thank you guys for being here. This is what Creative Connect is about, is connecting creatives together so that we can share information, share tools, share resources to make a better tomorrow. And today, I have my special guest who has been doing so well when it comes to finances. And I felt it was important to have people sit on this stage that have the real experience, what it is to go from zero and above. And those are the stories that we can use as testimonies for success, especially being Black. It is not easy. And
we can't stress that enough. The opportunities that we have, I always say that we start in the negatives, and our goal is to work 200 times harder just to get to zero. So, to be able to be in this position, it is a blessing, and I never take it for granted. So at this moment, I am looking forward to the conversations because I also learn as well. So today, I want to introduce Shay Myers. Give it up. So I've followed you online a lot. I never had a sit down with you before. And I think this for me is great because I'm inspired by your journey. Not only because you have made your success in finance public, but also because you used to have $200 in your account with bad savings. So first, I want you to kind of give me an introduction of yourself and tell me, how did you get in that situation?
Yeah, so hi everyone. No matter how many times I do this, I always get nervous. So give me some good energy. Give me some
Let's
good
go.
So, born and raised in Toronto. Parents didn't teach me anything about money. I wouldn't say that I had a rough upbringing or had a lot of responsibilities, so that should have made it easy for me to save, but I didn't. And I just feel that was lack of financial literacy, lack of responsibility, financial literacy, and not really understanding or having a plan, right? So I woke up one day at 28 years old and I had $200 to my name. And I was telling some people in the back, I've worked many, many jobs. I've made really great money over the years, and I just never saved any of it. Blessed to never have had a lot of debt, but never also had savings, investments, no foundation, nothing like that. And I would always start a job with no money and quit the job with no money. I don't know if anybody can relate to that, but I was really doing it the wrong way. And one day I just was like, man, I want to be more independent. I want to stop asking my parents for money. Like, imagine having to ask your parents for Metro Pass money. Like, it's a little embarrassing, right? You know what I mean? At one point, I was walking to the gym, 40 minutes there, 40 minutes back, because I didn't have a Metro Pass, but I was committed to the gym, right? So
That's commitment.
I just got tired of that, though. I couldn't travel. All of my college mates were traveling. My friends were traveling. And I'm just like, how are you able to do this? Like, your parents probably give you money. And they're like, no, we work and we save money. And I was like, ooh, okay. So the turning point for me wanting to actually change, well, one of the turning points, because this incident actually didn't change anything, but it hurt, okay? So I went to visit my cousin in Minnesota. She was there for school, and I almost got stranded at the airport because I didn't have money to take the bus to get there. And the thing about it is that you needed to pay with a credit card, and I didn't have a credit card at the time. And so I called my parents like, hey, like, I really need you to make this quick payment. I'll send you the money. And they said no. So I love them, but it's like, damn. Right? So luckily, my brother hooked me up. But that was the first time that I was like, wow, if you have no one, you don't even have yourself to help you like get out of a jam. And that was scary, but I didn't change. But it was scary and a pivotal moment. When I really wanted to change was I just started to feel a little bit lost. Like, people were talking about investing and saving and debt management. And I'm just like, I don't know what you guys are talking about. And I've never conformed to age, societal norms or age expectations, but I started to feel financially unattractive to myself. And so I went on Instagram and I found somebody who was putting on a free workshop. I attended that workshop and I was like, man, like, I got so much to learn. And I had landed a really good a full-time job, and I'm like, this is the year where I'm gonna save so much money, invest, get the right insurance, like understand debt, and just like really transform my life. And so with the help of an advisor, I was able to put together a plan to maximize my income that I was making. I set the goal to save $10,000 in a year, and I saved that in 5 months.
Wow.
And then by month 9, I had saved $40,000. And by the end of that year, I had invested $25,000, part of that in a real estate project, part of that in a retirement, an RRSP. And so it might sound like a 0 to 100 story. I was really just trying to get from 0 to 2, like for real.
Yeah.
And so now I have a passion for teaching. I never thought I'd be in finance, but I take my passion for teaching and I mix that with finance to shake up the industry and make it more relatable, accessible, digestible, and show people that you don't have to go from 0 to 100. You can go from 0 to 1, and that's really, really amazing. Yeah.
So first, like when you hit that goal in half the time, how did you feel?
I was like, oh, it's on. I was like, nothing can stop me because I was so disciplined, and I had actually sacrificed a few things, like, your Ubers and your Uber Eats and your shopping and things like that. And I could see if I'm willing to sacrifice short-term satisfaction, like I could really do some damage.
Yeah. So after that now, you saved the $10,000. Was the savings for a particular reason, or you were just like, I'm gonna save $10,000 and whatever I find to invest in, that's what I'm gonna do? Or like, how did you know what move to make next? Because some people make $10,000, but they don't even know what to do with it.
Definitely. So from advice from my advisor, I needed an emergency fund. I didn't have any savings at all. And so I needed that in case income got compromised, that I could still pay my bills. So that $10,000 was the starting of a safety net. Yeah.
Nice. So what are some of the biggest misconceptions about money management that holds people back from achieving financial success?
So income is really important. We know this. And we also know that the job market is wild right now. But if you have the income, but you don't have the spending habits, you don't have the discipline, the consistency, or the money mindset, it doesn't matter. Because I've made money before. Why did I end up with $200? Because I couldn't keep it, right? So money mindset is really, really important. And especially in our community, like we need to address the things that are negatively impacting our money management skills, or else, again, it doesn't matter how much money you make, it's not going to go the way you want it to.
Yeah. So, you know what the thing is, I always find it interesting, and I don't know if it's just in our community, but like, why is it so hard for people to talk about money?
Yeah, there's a few topics that are hard to talk about with us, right? I think, I don't know.
Yeah.
There's many reasons, right? Like it's foreign. It might be like a foreign language. Generationally, parents don't usually love to talk about certain things with their kids. Certain things are adult things, right? Also, too, maybe sometimes we're afraid to show our hand. Like we actually don't know that much about what we're talking about, so we don't want to expose that, right?
We don't want to get exposed.
We don't want to get exposed. Exactly. And then also, too, there is such thing as financial trauma. And so that can also be a barrier that stops us from wanting to bring something up. And then also, too, having to admit that, I don't know what I should know, or like I'm not in the best financial position is not something that especially our parents would want to admit to their kids. So man, the list can go on and on and on.
Yeah. So you've helped cleared like $200,000 of client debt. What strategies have you found the most helpful for your clients?
So friendly correction, 120,000, but it's gonna be
My bad. It'll
200,000
be two.
soon.
Let's throw
Okay.
200 in the air.
Yes, exactly. Manifestation. Love that. So the first thing is figuring out where you are, right? We can't get to the destination if we don't know where we're starting. So a financial review is important. Like how much debt does somebody have? How much income are they making? What savings looks like, investments, things like that. And then getting a good idea of what the debt looks like, right? Because sometimes I find people firstly, people think that they have a lot of debt, and I'm like, oh, wow, you should have saw the last guy, because
Yeah.
you know what I mean? So getting a good idea of like what that looks like, what are the interest rates, monthly payments, things like that. And then from there, figuring out which method makes the most sense. So there are a few different methods that you can take. Some include clearing the debt with the highest interest first. Sometimes it's clearing the debt with the lowest balance first. It really depends on the person, their situation, and what their cash flow allows. So that's the first thing, like getting an idea of where are we starting? Where are you? And then from there, figuring out a strategy.
Right. So the biggest thing that, and I'm glad I have a strong mind because my mom says that is okay. And she's just in this crazy debt and then she stresses that she can't pay a bill.
Mm.
And then it's such a like okay, so which should you pay your bill? Should you pay your thing or what should you do? So in terms of like mindset shifts, like what does that mindset shift look like, or what have you even experienced with your clients to like, because you can tell someone something, you could lead them to the water and all that stuff, but then they're not gonna do it. Like what mindset how do you need to think to get out of a situation like that?
Yeah, there's many things. The first thing is you have to want to help yourself, and sometimes that involves getting help from someone else. We have this thing where we don't want to ask for help. And sometimes people come to me and I'm like, man, if you came to me 6 months ago, like this wouldn't even be a thing. So getting out of that self-sabotage
Mm,
mentality is huge, because full transparency, like I feel like I kind of went there last year where it's like, and that's another thing I'll say. Sometimes people don't want to admit, like, yes, I do well, and yes, I've done all these things. I still have debt,
yeah.
and that's okay. And I'm working through it, and I'm on a strict savings plan, and I'm human. So that's also something, a part of the business of like, I want people to stop putting people on pedestals. Like, the reason why I do so well is because I relate to people, right? So that's a little bit of a side note. Self-sabotage, right? Sometimes people get into this space where it's like, the debt, it's too much, so I'm just gonna let it go. That's
Yeah.
not the way. If you don't ask for help and you don't get that outside opinion and that review, sometimes the solution is so simple, but you might not know it because
Mm,
you didn't get the expert opinion,
yeah.
right? So there's that. And then like the urgency. I don't think people understand how, like, we need to move. I'm not a pessimist, so I don't think the future is dark, but like the storm's brewing, okay? So it's really important, like you gotta act now, because again, time, especially for if we're thinking about debt, $20,000 could be 40,000 of debt real quick.
Yeah.
Okay, I see it happen all the time. So the urgency to change, eliminating self-sabotaging views, and then asking for help. If you ask for help and that person makes you feel bad, next.
Yeah.
Not everyone's going to make you feel bad about your financial situation, but you have to be willing to at least ask so that you can say, you know what, I tried to ask for help and that person didn't help me, but I'm going to ask somebody else. Because if you just sit there, time is the most valuable asset. You don't get that back. And the longer you wait, the longer it's going to take.
Yeah. That's good. That's
Yeah.
good. One thing that has been hard. I mean, I think I'm doing better now, but sometimes you want to save,
Mm-hmm.
but then I'll put like a large sum into an account, a savings account, and then when a little thing goes wrong, I have to jump back into it.
Mm-hmm.
So I always like end up not saving.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't I never seen the whole, oh, put $1 away, put $1 away, put $1 away thing. I'm like, no, I gotta put 100 away. I gotta put 10 bands away. And then that just kind of like it just kind of like brings me back to zero. So just in terms of that mindset and putting yourself first and understanding the goal that you want for yourself, I think goals are very important when it comes to with finance, because one thing that saved I just started saving 5 years ago. And the reason I'm grateful for it, because that was in 2020 when I said, you know what, I'm gonna finally start to save. And then the pandemic hit.
Mm-hmm.
And then I'm like, I'm so glad I saved. Because then I seen the importance of it. That's what it took for me to see the importance. Because as a creative, like, we'll make $5,000 on a project, you know, which is like abnormal to the average worker. And then we'll think that the next project is going to be $5,000 again. So I always thought in large sums and never understood what it was to say, you know what, put $5 away, put $5 away a week, you know, because that is the biggest discipline, is to be consistent putting a small sum away. And that's what I've learned, and that's what has been helping me slowly elevate. So for any creative, that is something that is important, is consistency in small increments. So that's important. For you now, just being able to run so many workshops as a Black woman, why is it important for someone like yourself to be in this financial space?
Yeah, definitely. So representation is definitely important. And I think it's just been recent that we've started to see the industry be more colorful, which I think is important. Even when I started, I had the finance bros. Some of them would say certain things like they don't think that, you know, women can know about money. And it's just like, oh, okay. It's actually not that hard, by the way. But it's important because we are inspiring other people. And I think it's important that I can empower other women to care about money and be involved in the money conversations, especially if they have a partner, because so many women come to me on their ones and they have no idea. It's like their partner takes care of everything. And I just want to be able to encourage everybody, but especially women, because we're not typically encouraged to care about this kind of stuff. We should know certain things so that we can manage our own finances. Because I also have experience with people who experience financial abuse. Divorce happens, they're left with nothing. We're starting from zero. It's real.
Yeah.
And so knowing the fundamentals is very, very important. And then, of course, for the youth, like, we want to encourage them that they literally can do anything that they want. And, you know, they say you make money in the money industry, so hint, hint.
That sounds
you know, but also just sharing, like, even just being interested in something, it means that you can learn. And we need more diversity when it comes to the types of careers that we are choosing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's amazing. I seen something on your Instagram about 3% of people are like, have like a TFSA account and all this stuff, and or don't even know about it or something.
Yeah, so 3% of Canadians can identify TFSA, FHSA, RSP, GIC.
That's a small amount.
Yeah, so the survey was done with 1,500 adults in Canada, and that's something that I'm seeing every day when I'm sitting down with people. I'm asking them, like, okay, do you have a TFSA? And they're like, what is that? Do you have this? What is that? These are like adults. And it's not to shame, because 4 years ago, I didn't know any of this stuff either, right? But these types of things can help us plan for the future, save, invest. And the fact that we don't know these things, it means that the education system is doing a trash job, but also too, the information is not accessible outside of the education system, which is a problem, right? So yeah, I try to mention that statistic as often as I can because sometimes people need to hear like stark facts
Yeah.
to be like, oh, snap. And then it's like, are you a part of the 3% or are you not? Right? Like, do you know these terms or not? Right? So,
Yeah. So as you continue on this journey, it's been 4 years and you've made significant impact. What does the future look like in terms of finance for the culture? What does that look like? Where do you want it to go? How do you see it shifting the narrative?
yeah. So, definitely more workshops. I love doing workshops in high schools for the youth. You know, everyone says they're the future, but it's so true. But financial education is the foundation of that. I remember somebody said once that um, if somebody's quality of life is low, then their value for life is going to be low as well. So when we're thinking
Say that.
about
Hold on. Say that one more time. Say that. Slow that one down.
shout out to the person who told me, I can't remember who, but it wasn't me, okay?
Hold
Wasn't
on. Let
me.
them get the snaps out. Let them get the snaps out. This is it. Let's say that one
Oh
one more
gosh.
time.
Okay. So somebody said that if your quality of life is low, then your value for life will be low as well. So when we're thinking about, you know, what these kids are getting into and violence and poverty, if I am suffering day in and day out, my care for other people may not be the same if I had food on the table, had parents who were involved, had resources. That's just facts. And so the financial education is going to change lives, and that's my mission. You know, starting with Ontario, I do have a team. I'm blessed to have a team. We're doing an Ontario-wide workshop tour, and we just want to educate as many people on the fundamentals, like the fundamentals of how to manage your money, how to save, budget, get out of debt, invest, all of those things. Also, too, I want to get into brand partnerships because, again, bringing financial literacy into the mainstream and lifestyle content creation world is something that I would love to continue to do. So those are just a few of the goals.
Nice. So if you were to look back at the 16-year-old Shay, what would you tell her? What advice would you give her?
So many things, child. So my mom used to tell me to save all the time, like whenever I got money from like family, whatever the case is. And I just, man, if I could tell my 16-year-old Shay something, I would say, ask her what that means. Like, she just said save, save. And I'm like, yeah, like, what do you mean save? Like, what does that mean? And if she couldn't answer that question,
Wow.
find the answer, right? So that's one of the things I would say. Yeah.
Wow. I think that's big because what does save mean to a young child? And I mean, my mom always say that stuff too. It's just a word that gets thrown around, but like, what does it mean? How? Like, what? Why?
Or save for what? Like I said, I didn't really have too many responsibilities. So what am I saving for? Like, you have to give me, and I find this with clients too, like, you have to be emotionally connected to a goal. So when I talk about, okay, emergency fund, it's not for play. It's if something happens, you don't have to go into debt. You have some cash to take care of it. Like, so, yeah.
That's big. Because, you know, you say save for a rainy day when you're young, but it's always sunny when you're young because you got no bills. So the rainy days come when the bills come. Thank you so much for spending this time with us. This has been amazing. Give it up for Shay.
Thank you.
This episode of Corex Creative is sponsored by BMO, Bank of Montreal.